Look at that defense from Krasowski, immediately covering off Olivier, but Olivier chucks it down into hell corner, and it looks like he's got a better exit too. They're now going to drag race up to Griffin's Bend.
Yes, they are. Here they're going to be in that straight drag race, and that's going to be Genet trying to hold on behind in that Lamborghini to see if there's anything to be had. Absolutely nothing there between the two of Krasowski and Olivier.
Krasowski's going to have the inside, but he doesn't break quite as deep. That outside is hard to hold on to, and that is why Olivier, a spin though, up at the front. Everybody tries to scatter to the inside. Krasowski falling all the way to the back. Will he get hit? No. Absolutely sends it into Sunset Bends, and cutting back underneath. We're going to go 3 wide onto the main straight and almost cutting across. New Hook nearly gets hooked himself, and thankfully has just enough space to go by Danny Cervantes. Cervantes using that slipstream to catch back up and see if he can keep Kings behind him. Kings has the desired inside line, and once again an over-under potentially no. Ryan Kings now into P3. Another attack from Reynolds, attempted into the inner loop, again, does not stick.
He peeks his nose to the inside through the carousel one more time. They've got a lapped car up ahead of him. When are they going to catch it? Can Reynolds capitalize as he now peeks to the outside? And they're side by side.
If he can keep here, he'll have the inside down into the toe of the boot, and he does. He's got the overlap. This could be job done if he can manage to get in front and a little too deep into the corner. Schutt has to give it up, tries to square it off, looks for maybe a better exit, and I think he's got it. The lapped car helps him. He's going to try and fight back. Reynolds now gives him a taste of his own medicine as he covers the inside, breaking deep down into the heel of the boot. They carry on side by side. Has he got the inside into turn 9? I think he might. He could have this one back. This will be an incredible fight back here from the 31, and he's got it. It's closer than he's been before, and it's a white flag lap now. Does he try and get it here? Does he wait till later? This seems like a good opportunity for me. And indeed, he's once again going to be on the inside for De La Rosa, but this will be the outside into Curva Grande. Will we see Lau Stolson start to come back forward on him?
They got
Don't
traffic.
forget about Iamaki as well. And they're going to have to stay on the side. Oh, no, they come together. They come together, and that's going to send Olsen into a horrible tumble while Iamaki carries on with the lead.
Hey there, I'm Nicholas Dubois, co-founder of Advanced SimRacing. We are a Canadian company. So what we did here today is for a real petrol head. He's really passionate about cars, as you can see behind me. We did a turnkey solution for him based on his needs. We try to gather as much information as we can on our client. And like we did today, we install a D-Box system. We install ultra-wide cube control steering wheel. We try to provide the best quality for your budget. So let's say if you want a budget of 10 grand, we're gonna give you something that's the best for 10 grand. If you want 20 grand, then we always try to stay within your boundaries. We do try to make it as easy as possible. So the client, once we install everything, it's pretty much gonna be a turnkey. So he's gonna press start on his computer, and right after, we'll try to explain everything, how it goes, how it works, and then he's ready to go. Our aluminum is from USA, treated in Canada, cut in Canada. So we do sand all our aluminum piece just to make sure the powder coat sticks to it. And that's one of the reasons why we use powder coat, is to make sure you have the best aluminum finish in the industry. And our quality is beyond what you can get with any other competitors right now. We are really, really passionate about all the gear, all the cockpits, all the sim hardware, and that's why we want to create something that's really going to reflect our passion into our product. come visit us at advancedsimracing.com. You can always reach us if you have any questions. You can call us, you can text us, you can go on Facebook, like our page, ask us questions over there, and we'll make sure to answer every questions there is. We are very passionate about what we do, and we try to make it as easier for you to go into the sim racing world, because there's a lot of gear, there's a lot of options, but let us guide you through your process, and let's hope you'll be an Advanced Sim Racing customer.
We're now at the tail end of 2022 Season 1 and things are still not fully decided. Bradley Holly has the most comfortable championship lead he's had in a while, but anything can happen at a super speedway, especially one as wide and fast as this. The Precision Racing League NASCAR Truck Series is racing at Club Speedway for round 9 of 10, and you'll see it all live here on the Global Sim Racing channel. Hello everyone, I'm Reese Gardner. With me in the booth is Chris Phoebe, and Derek Watson is in the pits. Behind the scenes is our director Zach Johnson, and he's using cameras provided by Dougie Beard. Club Speedway in Fontana, California might have numbered days as a super speedway in the real world, with plans to turn it into a short track, but that day has yet to come, and the drivers will be racing at top speed around an insanely fast circuit. Let's head to the track guide to learn more.
Located in sunny California, a little bit to the east of Los Angeles, lies the Club Speedway. This 2-mile D-shaped oval constructed on the site of a former steel mill in 1995 by Roger Penske and opened to the racing world in 1996. Club plays host to regular NASCAR action every year in the spring, but has also played host to IndyCar several times in its past, including a closed track speed record of 241.428 miles per hour set by Gilles de Ferran in October of 2000. Club draws a lot of similarities to the Michigan International Speedway, as the tracks are sister versions of each other. Michigan has the more banking, but Club is wider. Speaking of wide open is the name of the game for Club, as the track's 14 degrees of banking that awaits the drivers in the corner really lends for some great racing. It is not surprising to see them 3, maybe even 4 wide in the corners here. Club is notorious for chewing up tires, so as the driver you have to make sure that your car goes fast, but then you also have to make sure that you can keep the tires on it. Club also has not been repaved since the track opened, leaving the track surface to become very bumpy, especially on the backstretch and down the front stretch. All in all, Club is a staple of every series that comes there. Drivers love the place, fans love to watch races at this place. Put it all together, and you have a recipe for surefire success. This has been our guide to the Club Speedway. Enjoy the show.
Well, Chris, this is a classic super speedway, been around since the 1990s, a bit flatter banked than some super speedways out there, but certainly it has produced some fantastic racing in the past. It's got plenty of room for racing, which should be good for tonight.
That's right. It's a sister track to the Michigan International Speedway, which is right in my backyard. But this track is a 2-mile oval with these trucks. It's going to be mostly wide open. But look for handling to play a big role, because this track is bumpy. If you're not watching out for it, you could rattle your fillings right out of your mouth. This track is rough. The pavement is gritty. And basically, it's going to be a tire-saving game for a lot of this race. And also watch them throughout the corners, because there's a multitude of lines these guys can run. And a lot of times you'll see drivers that run different lines from one end of the track to the other. So it'll keep you on your toes and possibly keep our competitors on their toes as well.
Yeah, they will be on their toes for 60 laps of racing in tonight's broadcast. which is brought to you first and foremost by Advanced SimRacing. Owned and operated by passionate SimRacers, Advanced SimRacing designs and builds the sturdiest and most durable aluminium profile racing simulation cockpits available in the market today. Visit them at advancedsimracing.com.
It's also sponsored by RaceLab. RaceLab helps you to improve your driving skills. With modern overlays, race statistics, and native VR integration, you can get the best out of iRacing. Start using it now for free at racelab.app.
Today's broadcast is also proudly sponsored by ButtKicker. ButtKicker products add an incredible immersion and realism to any game. Feel every nuance and truly put yourself in the driver's seat. Check them out at thebutkicker.com.
And finally, the PRL NASCAR Truck Series is brought to you by NinjaTrader. Ready to compete against the financial markets? Supporting over 60,000 users across the globe, NinjaTrader provides award-winning trading software and brokerage services. NinjaTrader is always free to use for advanced charting, backtesting, and trade simulation. Visit NinjaTrader.com to get started with a risk-free trading simulator and start tracking your performance.
Well, this is the way things look in the Drivers' Championship as things stand. It is still Bradley Holly who leads the way. He's had a very successful season, managing to stay ahead of Thomas Sink and Abner Acosta by over 20 points going into the penultimate round of the season. But he's going to be battling some illness, which he has been for quite some time. Nonetheless, it doesn't seem to have affected his pace all that much because he's still top of the practice timesheets. But it's pretty close between Thomas Sink and Abner Acosta. Danny Cervantes has a little gap back to Austin Hunter. But Chris, it's definitely going to be on for second in the championship. Abner Acosta will want that P2 back.
That's right. After another strong finish last week at Daytona, Abner Acosta continues his ascension back into championship contention. He's definitely going to have to go through Thomas Sink to get there, though. And Austin Hunter there in the top 5 picked up the win finally last week at Daytona. It was obviously a very big moment for him, and he has all the momentum in the world as we get into the closing stages of this season.
Absolutely. We'll be following Austin Hunter on one of our mini cameras tonight. The team points. Well, there's no surprise up at the top 2 spots. Waterback taking those top 2 places, but it's closer than ever between the 2 Waterback teams. Overdrive Racing, well, Bradley Holly is a part of that squad. Back Row Racing, Thomas Sink is part of that squad. So if there's a bit of a flip between the positions for Bradley Holly and Thomas Sink tonight, that could be the difference between one or the other of the sub-teams of Waterback taking that lead.
And just another fun aspect of the Precision Racing League is this team's championship that they have going on. Really, there's so many different storylines going on throughout the series here with Overdrive Racing and Back Row Racing. Both members of the same family there at the Waterback squad, but it definitely will keep things interesting on multiple ends of this race.
Certainly will. Waterback certainly put in a ton of effort every single week to get the results they need in the Precision Racing League. And tonight's race details, as I mentioned just before, it's going to be 60 laps, at least if there aren't a ton of cautions and we end up going time certain. The race is limited to an hour in total elapsed time. You get 4 total tyre sets, the one you start on and 3 extra. But if you're involved in a wreck, which is very likely at a super speedway, you're not going to get a chance to take a fast repair and get straight back out there. You'll be stuck in the pits for quite some time.
That's right. And this is a track where it's really easy to end up following behind someone and hitting a slightly different braking point and running over the truck in front of you, which that could definitely help you get to that incident limit and also have the no spare truck thing come back to bite you as well.
There's also only 24 incidents available to use over the course of this race. And, of course, the drivers will be racing a fixed setup. And in terms of setups, if you're looking for some extra setups to help you improve your iRacing results, make sure to check out our sponsor at GSRC, the Majors Garage, home of free Baseline Plus setups. Get help from any of the garage coaches 24/7. Sign up now for awesome, affordable monthly subscriptions, telemetry, coaching, and more at majorsgarage.com. Or use our special discount code MajorsGSRC for 10% off. We have a link in the description below that directly applies our special offer. Well, qualifying has begun, Chris, and now we will see who has what it takes to start on the pole position here at Fontana. Checking out the trucks, going out onto the track. You see just how wide this circuit is. It's amazing how much space you have out there.
Yeah, this track is gigantic. I mean, it is a 2-mile oval, which is big as it is, but there is just so much room to race.
Yeah, plenty of room for alternate lines as well. And typically for super speedways, we have drivers going high coming out of the final corners to start the lap. And you can use the apron, it seems, here at Fontana to shorten your run to the line. Plenty of drivers already out on track at the moment, Bradley Holly and Danny Cervantes, but we check out the number 21 of Adam Young, who suffers a bit of oversteer through turn 2, and that's not going to help his run at all. They only get 2 laps. And we're getting some news from our pit guy, Derek Watson. James Dewar not qualifying here tonight due to penalties from Daytona. That's something that happens here in the PRL leagues. If you end up getting caution points or have penalties applied from a previous round, you're not allowed to qualify at the round following. So James Dewar will be starting at the back of the grid. But Adam Young setting the provisional P1 time, 44.5. But Bradley Holly immediately to the top, 42.041 there. Dalton Geyer shadowing him by just under 4 tenths. There goes Danny Cervantes up to P2. And then Thomas Sink as the times start flowing in. Very close between Holly and Sink at the front. Things going to plan for Waterback, it seems.
You know, I was going to comment on how unusual it was to see Bradley Holly out there so early to qualify. But then you look at the lap times here, and even a flying lap is still north of 40 seconds. So you got to think a caution lap is closing in on 1 minute. With only 5 minutes in the session, it's almost like an Oklahoma land rush to get out there as quick as possible, just so you have time to get both of your laps in.
And Bradley Holly does not improve on that second run. He ran 0.05 of a second slower, but Dalton Geyer improving to third. He's immediately bumped down by Cervantes, Hilton, and Sink, who've just brought in their second lap times. Cervantes P2, Sink P3, Hilton P4. That's great stuff there for Baron Hilton. He has unfortunately suffered a few no qualifying penalties over the course of this season, so that'll be very good for him starting so high up in the top 10.
Yeah, Baron Hilton, one of the up-and-coming drivers in the PRL. I'd say a candidate for most improved. He's definitely been somebody who's gotten his nose dirty a few times in years past, but he's really getting down to be a pretty solid racer.
That he is. We focus on the number 14 of Ryan Goodall, who has had great potential for fantastic results this season, probably another candidate for most improved. But Abner Acosta going to P1, the first driver into the 41-second bracket. That is huge there from the private label Team Hype number 5. Ryan Goodall crosses the line for his first qualifying lap, goes P13, but that's a big surprise there from Abner Acosta, Chris.
Yeah, Abner continuing his great form here in the late season. Already top of the charts and coming back around here. Definitely a great run for Abner. And there's also some bonus points on the line for pole position, which could also help in his endeavors in the championship.
Seems that the first lap is the quickest here at Fontana. Abner could not improve on that second lap, but it seems that might be pole position secured as we have the majority of drivers setting times with only 30 seconds left in the session. Wow, I've just seen Adam Zemke pop up to P3. What a good run there for the number 57 who has had a tough season.
Yes, Zemke has had amazing qualifying form a few times this season, and just goes to show that he can still pull out a good performance here. P3 on the charts, and not too terribly far off from second.
Yeah, not far at all. Only 200 separating himself and Bradley Holly. So let's see if Adam Zemke can hold on to that. Mark Kalin improves to P14 in the dying seconds. And that is the end of qualifying. So we can go through the grid for round 9 of 2022 Season 1 in the Precision Racing League NASCAR Truck Series. It's Abner Acosta and Bradley Holly on the front row. Adam Zemke and Danny Cervantes third and fourth, with Thomas Sink and Jeff Evans rounding out the top 6. Barron Hilton and Colton Lane will share the fourth row, and the top 10 is rounded out by Brendan Chatley and Austin Hunter.
Hanging out there in the row number 6, there is Charles Sumner in the 98 with Dalton Geyer to his outside. Ryan Traver is lucky 13th on the grid next to Mark Kalin. Adam Young will be 15th, carrying one of our onboard cameras with Cian Pennington next to him. Then Ryan Goodall in 17th, and Joshua Telez, who had a strong run going last week, in row number 9. Completing your top 20 starters is going to be Adam Shane in 19th, and Paul Williams completing the top 20.
Starting out at 21st is going to be Stacey Hunter, accompanied by Randy Caldwell on the 11th row, Jim Westerfield and Danik Momi 23rd and 24th. It's Clayton Montgomery and Curry, a row of Claytons on lucky 13. Nicholas Hunter and Jose Medina will line up 27th and 28th, the last drivers to set qualifying times, and not qualifying tonight. Doyle Lawrence, Daniel Ailey rounding out the top 30, and then we've got Joao Guerra and James Dewar, who had that no qualify penalty announced by Race Control. So the majority of drivers out on the grid at the moment here in the pit lane at Auto Club Speedway, and we just wait for the pace car to pull away for this single formation lap at this 2-mile-long super speedway. Now, it's been a while since I've seen any racing at Fontana. What can we expect here, Chris?
Well, a big thing is going to be the track surface itself, Reese. This is a really aged surface, and basically just grinds up the tires as they come around. So that's going to be the biggest thing, is tire management here. And I think it's going to be pretty exciting to watch. Maybe some of the drivers that play it safe early in the run end up coming on strong at the end, and some of the drivers that are pushing the issue early on fading towards the end of the run.
Going to be interesting to see who can come out on top with the way tires work in this series. Traditionally, we've seen Bradley Holly work his tires incredibly well, making them last an insanely long time, considering the big pace drop-off these cars have. Let's quickly go through our cameras here tonight. We've got 3. The first, of course, being Austin Hunter, who, as you mentioned, Chris, took that win at Daytona. We've also got Brendan Chatley on cams as well. And it'll be interesting to... Oh, he's got some company, has Brendan Chatley. Well, he's going to have his good doggo cheering him on. And there is Adam Young with his triple screen setup, and it seems direct drive wheel. Nice setup there. And of course, Bradley Holly, always on cams here at the Precision Racing League, and wearing his lucky shirt is the Texan. Coming up to the start now, the pace car pulls in, and it's up to Abner Acosta now to control the pace towards the green flag here at Fontana. When does he decide to go? Waits until the call of the green flag to get going, and it's an even start. We are racing in the Precision Racing League NASCAR Truck Series once again. Let's see what Bradley Holly can do around the outside here in turns 1 and 2. It's a nice clean start for the field, and they're giving each other a good amount of space. Holly slots in behind Abner Acosta, who gets the run through turns 1 and 2, but Adam Zemke still trying to fend off Danny Cervantes. Seeing a big move to the inside for Mark Kalin. He's lining up a move on Charles Sumner, and it looks like he's going to complete it. Austin Hunter's going to have to stay wide to give some room to the number 62. But Zemke is fighting now with Jeff Evans on the outside in that hot pink truck. You can't miss it out there on the high line. Zemke falling down a little bit after a very strong qualifying performance, but there's every chance that he'll be able to come back. Acosta, though, leads the way of lap 1.
Yeah, this may be a race that favors some of the drivers that take it easy early in this run. Like we mentioned, the tires are going to fall off fast and hard here. So we're going to see some drivers that play it safe, maybe fall back a little bit, but will look to make a run later on, as you see the field kind of snaking its way down the backstretch there.
Seems to be quite a different style of racing at this comparatively low-banked super speedway compared to tracks like Daytona. A lot more space between the trucks, but that's not a bad thing. It means there's a slightly less likelihood of the big one, but I won't curse them just yet. Cervantes, fastest lap so far, 42.0, but being single file in the front half of the field, there's still plenty of positions to be worked out further back. The 312 of Austin Hunter we focus on. He's got Ryan Traver up behind him, and there's a good bit of too wide going on, 2x2, 2 rows back. Jim Westerfield getting the run on Clayton Montgomery, but can't quite turn in for turn 3. Montgomery still on the inside. Meanwhile, Joshua Tellez and CM Pennington fighting over position 20.
And it looks like our winner from last week, Austin Hunter, in that 312 has some damage on the right side. Looks like the number's been scraped right off of it.
Yeah, hearing from our director, Zach Johnson, that he scraped the wall. And there's... and that's not going to do his pace any favors, but still in the draft, still in the pack. Going to be a good run for the most part from these drivers. But Bradley Holly is starting to pile the pressure onto Abner Acosta. We mentioned earlier that Holly is very good on tires, and it seems he has gotten some in reserve here, putting down the attack as the top two start breaking away from the rest of the field.
This is one of the moments where Bradley Holly's cerebral nature behind the wheel kind of comes into play. He'll lurk there in that second position and try everything he can to push Abner Acosta into using up his equipment. I've seen this move quite a few times from him, but Abner is also pretty stout competition in that 5 machine, and he's done war with Bradley Holly quite a few times, so we'll see if this technique bears out any fruit for Bradley Holly.
You see on the camera in the bottom right the amount of wheel work that you have to do in these turns. Very good run down the front stretch for Holly. He's going to line up a move into turn 1, getting up the inside of Abner Acosta. Good amount of room given between the two championship rivals. Will Holly have the run he needs out of the corner to get into the race lead? Acosta going a little higher, gets a slight bit of extra momentum thanks to that. Lovely wide surface here at Auto Club Speedway, but Holly still has some overlap going into turn 3. This is giving a good advantage to Danny Cervantes, who's now well in the fight here for the top 3. Acosta continuing to stay high, and probably going to be saving his tires thanks to that as well. Holly's going to have to turn the wheel a little more, use up a bit more of that rubber, but it seems that he's in a bit of trouble here as Cervantes drafts up to the back of Abner Acosta.
And that's another thing about this track we haven't really touched on, Reese. This track is so big, and the way the engine configuration is on these trucks, drafting will play a role here.
Oh, it looks like Holly got a bit compromised on the inside there, out of turn 2. So he falls back into line, and that's the majority of the field's single file from here on out. But that battling between Holly and Acosta has brought everyone in the top 10 back into contention. It's side by side between Colton Lane and Adam Zemke. Zemke continuing to drop positions, but he's keeping himself well in the fight in the top 10, which is good to see. But it seems that Colton Lane's going to line up Jeff Evans as well up the inside into turn 1. Good run here from Colton Lane to start things off. He's up 4 positions, but Mark Kalin is the driver in the top 10 with the most positions gained. Up 6s. Oh dear, that's Kalin. I only just mentioned him going for a spin on the back stretch. We're going to stay green. He's managed to get going again, but that's a big shame there for the number 62. Looks like a bit of contact with Baron Hilton was what did that.
Well, thanks to all that extra runoff we have, it looks like we'll stay green, but yeah, that could have been a really big moment.
Well, Kalin has fallen down to 24th place, and he's going to get rounded up by the likes of Traver as well. Oh, goodness me, that was very close there, that contact that he suffered, and good on him to keep the car straight as well. We'll check out the view from Charles Sumner as the incident happens just up ahead. Very well avoided there from Mr. Sumner, but that's 2 trucks compromised thanks to that. Back to live pictures, and we focus on Jeff Evans, who has fallen down a couple more positions. He's lost a place to Thomas Sink, and Sumner is starting to line up these guys. Sumner up 3 positions, which has been a good run, and we've got drama on the front stretch. They are wrecking, and oh dear, just managed to get off the circuit in time. The caution will not come out, but onto the grass is Dalton Geyer, and I'm just double checking who he made contact with. It was Danik Momi at the back of the field. Actually, it was triggered by Danik Momi and the number 3 of Randy Caldwell making contact out of turn 4.
And there's a virtual groundskeeper who's going to be really upset about him driving through the grass like that.
Yeah, there's going to be a bit more landscaping work required after this one, I would imagine, as Zemke and Evans fighting over the last position in the top 6. Running side by side like this is really bringing Charles Sumner into this battle again. Let's see what Zemke can do around the outside to try and preserve this position. Just gets it on Evans out of turn 1, but Evans might still have some overlap. No, he doesn't, and falls in behind. Let's see if Charles Sumner has what it takes to get the move done. I'm hearing that the number 12 and the number 36, that's Dalton Geyer and Danik Momi, having meatball flags. The black flag with the orange circle in the center means you're damaged to the point where the car is dangerous and you need to come in for repairs. So those guys are going to be spending some time in the lane. In fact, they're already in there.
Yeah, that's never a fun flag to get here in iRacing. And unfortunately, it's going to be even more painful with the fact that they can't do a quick repair here. So they're going to be riding it out in the pits for a little while.
It seems we're getting some gaps forming here. Charles Sumner at the back end of the top 8 has a sizable gap back to Ryan Goodall and Adam Shane. Jim Westerfield just behind them, I think, trying to make it into the top 10. Actually, yes, Ryan Goodall exchanging the position with Adam Shane there at the back of this top 10, but the top 3, no, top 4, all in a line. It's been a great run from Colton Lane, now up 4 places, and looking to make himself a factor here in the battle for the lead.
Yeah, he's definitely kept pace with our 2 leaders here in the early stages of this race. And you got Colton Lane, who's been pretty hungry for a good finish. So he's running up there in the top 4 as well. And then Thomas Sink, our other championship contender, lurking back there in the 5th spot as Cervantes now goes to work on Holly. A nice little crossover move there to get to the inside.
Very nice indeed, and he's going to have the advantage coming into turn 1. Will Bradley Holly yield? No, he's going to stay a lane up from the bottom and use that extra momentum around the outside to translate into a run down the back stretch, and looks like the overlap will be completely diminished by the time they get to turn 4. Cervantes falling back in line, but that little bit of fighting has given a nice gap to Abner Acosta. He leads by 0.4 of a second.
Yeah, and Cervantes not giving up on Holly, but that's also now allowing the 60 of Colton Lane to get up in the mix for that battle for the runner-up position as well.
Oh dear. That is big trouble for CM Pennington, who has found a lot of trouble this season, unfortunately. Going to have to bring it into pit road. Derek, I think we'll have to bring you in for this. Derek Watson, what happened to CM Pennington there?
Yeah, just taking a look back, the replay here, that looks like coming through the corners. He made contact, came across the, I'm a little bit replay, sorry, came across the hood of another truck here and straight to the inside wall he's going to see on the replay here in just a second. And not able, there he goes across the hood, and his head first tried to save it, almost had it turned around. But that's going to be likely the end of that race for Mr. Pennington, unfortunately.
Yeah, that's a big ouch for CM Pennington, making contact with the 109 of Nicholas Hunter on the back stretch. It's the exit of these turns that you really have to watch out for, Chris, because you take a little bit too much speed through, even on a track like this where you can carry a great deal of speed through the turns. Understeer is definitely an issue once you get onto that transition onto the straights.
Yeah, it's very easy to make a mistake at that point of the track. The transitions are a little bit awkward and can definitely hurt your drive.
Well, it seems the top 8 have siphoned off into 2 groups, and there's been further issues for Bradley Holly there, it seems. He's back down in 4th, and we seem to have missed that while we were taking a look at the replay for CM Pennington. Holly, it seems, might have burned through the best of his tyres, but Cervantes is just coming into his own. It is Chevrolet 1, 2, 3 up at the front of the field, but Cervantes is starting to line up a move here on Abner Acosta. I can see he's carrying a great deal of momentum out of these corners, and he might just line up the move here coming into turns 1 and 2. He's looking at the inside, but he doesn't have enough of a rut to get alongside Abner Acosta into turn 1.
Well, definitely a lot of speed out of Cervantes right now, closing that gap to Abner Acosta. And Abner's led just a ton of laps here in the last handful of races, Reese. And you got to think, if not for a couple rough runs early in the season, he could be dominating this championship.
Certainly could be. It started as far back as Dover when Acosta suffered some technical issues, and also in qualifying, ending up starting way down in the field, had to try and work his way up there. He also suffered some big heartbreak at New Hampshire, but still plenty of room here to take a surprise championship win in 2022 Season 1 if there's big issues for Bradley Holly and Thomas Sink, who run 4th and 5th as things stand at the moment. But we look at the battling further back, the 71 of Stacey Hunter down there on the low line, a big line of cars up ahead of Stacey, 5 to be exact, and oh my goodness, that's quite the move there I'm not sure who that was. That was the number 59 of Brendan Chatley, trying his best to stay ahead. It seems that Brendan Chatley working himself very hard here for those minor positions, and it's Clayton Montgomery who ended up siding down to the inside. He's going to get the run here on Ryan Goodall, who's been falling back a little bit. Started in 17th, was in contention for the top 10, but now seems as the different states of tyres equal out, we're seeing drivers falling back who were pushing hard early on.
Yeah, it's like a California traffic jam throughout this part of the field. A lot of hot and heavy positions being swapped around. And the racing 2 and 3 wide at this point, Reese. This is a pretty intense part of the field.
Yeah, it's all on in the midfield in any case. Brendan Chatley still motoring towards the front of this pack. He's just gotten Jim Westerfield there up at the front. So up into 11th now for Mr. Chatley in the 59, but a bit of a compromised run. Acosta still holding off Cervantes and Lane here at the front of the field, but it seems that Clayton Montgomery has gotten Jim Westerfield as well. That pack is where all the action is at the moment as we check out the onboard from Colton Lane here up behind Cervantes and Acosta. That's a very good run coming down the back stretch. Cervantes had to just breathe a little, I think, to stay behind Abner, but here is that battle for 11th place. Jim Westerfield now having to give some room on the inside to Clayton Montgomery, and it's side by side between Tellez and Goodall behind. Paul Williams and Stacey Hunter both sorting out their places as well. Oh, and just seeing that Adam Zemke has managed to pass Thomas Sink for P6. Bit of a recovery now for Adam Zemke, gaining positions. Oh boy, very tight racing there back in the field. Look at that run though from Thomas Sink coming down the back stretch. Jeff Evans is going to pitch up behind him and attempt to get that position there. It seems that Adam Zemke's going a little harder into the turns, carrying a bit more speed in the mid-corner. Let's see if that translates into a run down the back stretch. Maybe, but he'll be blocked by Thomas Sink, who moves up to the outside line.
Yeah, it looks like maybe the tire saving game working out in Zemke's favor here as he's still doing battle with Thomas Sink. But Jeff Evans is awfully close as well. So it's a nice little 4-truck battle there to break into the top 5.
Well, we're starting to get up to the halfway point in this race. It is absolutely flying by. Surely some of these drivers will be thinking about pitting soon. Would you say, Chris, that a good strategy for pitting here is to pit at the halfway mark, or just try to make these tires last as long as possible?
I think making this run last as long as you can is probably the way to do it, and then try to go for an undercut and do what you can to beat your competition on the pit road, because the drop-off is going to be pretty steep here with the abrasive surface. So an undercut on your competitors is ideal, but I think everyone, if this stays caution-free, is going to want to keep this run going as long as they can.
That racing for 11th to 17th still going on here. We just saw the number 88 of Joshua Tellez filter in behind Paul Williams in the number 7. Tellez is a driver that has been close to getting some good results a few times throughout this season. He'll be hoping that the pit strategy works out for him coming towards the end of this one. Looks like a good run from Stacey Hunter just behind on the inside versus Ryan Goodall, who's continuing to fall back. Goodall's going to potentially fall into the position he started once again. Seemed very strong on the fresh tyres, but unfortunately burning through their best early.
Yeah, this will be a race of comers and goers for sure. And right now we're seeing that early tire usage begin to hurt some of these drivers as they fade back through the field.
Charles Sumner at the back of the pack fighting for the lead. This is very tight here as Adam Zemke follows Thomas Sink up at the front. They're battling for the last position in the top 5. Look at that run from Sumner, though, picking up the draft from Zemke on the outside of Jeff Evans. Evans might well fall back to 8th if Sumner gets the run he needs. Zemke not getting any help from Sink down the front stretch. Oh, and very wide for the number 98. Does he still have what it takes to have the run onto the back stretch? It seems so. He looks quite superior, at least from that angle. And that is going to be Jeff Evans filtering back into P8 from that. We do have our first takers on pit road, first scheduled stop of the night. Derek, it seems Austin Hunter has decided to bring the 312 in.
Yeah, and we heard calls from the 59 as well that he's going to be pitting. So far pit entries are looking good as they're going to head down pit road here at the appropriate speed, which is 55 miles an hour, and get into these pit boxes. We would assume this would be probably 4 tire stops with gas as we're past that halfway point you talked about earlier.
Yes, Evans, Young, Chatley and Curry all in the pits at the moment. Will be interesting to see how that works out for them, Chris, because pitting just a little bit before the halfway mark, they will be at a disadvantage on tyres at the end if we stay caution-free.
That's right. This is definitely going to be a big management game for these drivers. And that takes a lot of self-control at this point because you're going to be so much quicker than your competition.
Got another lot of pitters here. Oh, that's quite the aggressive entry. Oh, dear. The number 10. Making his way in, or 109, Nicholas Hunter. Very difficult to slow down here, Derek, at a super speedway like this. You got to try and manage that transition from the banking onto the flat pit road. It seems that Nicholas Hunter wasn't quite able to do that.
Yeah, not so much. This is something that we, a lot of drivers are always encouraged to practice is pit road entry. It's something I think a lot of drivers forget about. But as you look at if you can see his speeds, I was watching him as he came in. He was well over the speed limit. His choices were to lock it up and spin it around, or eat the black flag there for speeding.
And big call from Bradley Holly. He has decided to come in early from the battle for the top 4. That could make all the difference later on, Chris.
That it could, but Holly was one of those drivers that seemed to be struggling with his tires, so not too surprised to see him in a little bit earlier than normal, but it's definitely going to be a tire management game for him from here on out as he pits at the halfway point.
Well, it's Acosta, Cervantes, and Lane. Oh, actually, Lane is coming into the pits as well as Bradley Holly exits. We have a slew of pitters coming in on this lap as well. Thomas Sink, Adam Zemke, Adam Shane, Paul Williams, Mark Kalin in there as well in the number 62. Goodness me, there's a lot of shuffling of positions going on out there as exiting the pits is Bradley Holly, and that shows you how much time you lose pitting under green flag conditions. He is technically just behind the pack for the top 3, but he's a lap down on them now.
Yeah, this one should cycle out, but it's it's going to be pretty dicey if we get a caution here anytime soon.
Well, Holly on the fresh tires is going to have the advantage there on the inside, and blue flags aren't really a thing in oval racing, so he will be sharing the racetrack with Abner Acosta, and look at that momentum that Holly carries on those fresh tires. That's how much those fresh tires are worth, and it's looking quite mixed up here for our top 2 of Acosta and Cervantes. Will they be going into the lane this time? Well, Cervantes is going to try and make a side-by-side here going on the outside. Does Abner decide to bring it into the lane? It looks like he is backing off and filtering down off the banking. So Abner Acosta, this could be crucial here for the race win. He pits a lap earlier than Danny Cervantes, and Derek, that might be the key to getting the undercut.
Yeah, it very well could be the key. Still watching pit stops here. Wanted to point out 24 just came in. Jose Medina came in. Missed his stall a couple times, unfortunately. So that'll probably cycle him pretty far back here in the field when all things are done.
Hearing also that Kalin missed his stall as well. It's been a very rough night there for Mark Kalin, but we keep our eyes on Danny Cervantes and see if he decides to extend this stint any further in the number 25 truck. It looks like he might be backing off and going for the lane himself, so the field should be cleansed here. Cervantes, the last of our trucks to pit as Abner Acosta exits just up ahead, and goodness me, it looks like Bradley Holly's undercut has worked out magnificently. He's put a huge gap between himself and Abner Acosta. Jeff Evans going to move into the effective race lead thanks to that.
Well, that's definitely going to be a little bit of a game changer here in this one.
Abner Acosta falling down to 7th. But with those fresher tyres now, he might be able to mount an attack towards the end as Holly goes for the race lead. Jeff Evans on the outside coming into turns 1 and 2. How much is he going to squeeze him? Looks like a fair amount of space being given, at least on corner entry, but Holly going for a slightly later apex there, straighten out the run onto the back stretch. And that will be the lead secured for the number 184. So showing that his practice pace was definitely where it was. Hearing also that there was a long stop, there is a long stop for Baron Hilton, Derek. Might he have been speeding on the way into pits and getting a penalty from that?
No indication of a black flag that I see so far. However, he was involved with that incident with Kalin in the opening laps. So I'm suspecting this is just fixing damage. Maybe he didn't feel comfortable with the truck. But surprising he's decided to take this long here under green flag. We're looking at, I think, almost 2 minutes at this point here on pit road.
Yeah, he stopped for almost 1.5 minutes. That's big problems there for Baron Hilton. Well, the battling continues here up at the front of the field. Holly, Evans and Lane, your top 3 all in a line. Thomas Sink on his own a little bit in 4th place, but he might be able to catch up to these guys. He's on the same stint length as Lane in front and Zemke behind, just completing their 5th lap on that stint. The driver with the oldest tyres in the top 10 is Jeff Evans. He's currently on the 9th lap of his stint, but look at this battling further back in the field. Stacey Hunter. This battle for 15th to 20th is looking quite intense.
Yeah, that part of the field's been pretty intense from basically from the get-go, and it has not calmed down one bit, even as pit stops have gone on.
Riding on board with Austin Hunter, side by side with Stacey, coming into turns 3 and 4. The high line not working as well as he would probably like, but he showed hints of using that to translate into a run underneath over the start-finish stretch, but seems that a little bit of oversteer put paid to that, and now Hunter's going to come under an attack here from Mark Kalin, who's trying his best to make up positions after a difficult race so far. Same can be said for Daniel Ailey. Oh, looks like the run's not there for Kalin, though. Compromised on the exit. Ailey's probably going to give him a bit of a bump from behind. A little bit of a hurry up. Let's get going, mate. It seems Kalin has recovered very nicely.
Austin Hunter hanging in there too. I mean, he's in the 18th spot, but after that contact with the wall early on, still being in contention there for a pretty halfway decent run. That's a pretty good testament to him as he bounces back after taking the win last week. It's been not quite as easy for him here today.
Position change for second, meanwhile. Colton Lane has made his way past Jeff Evans for second place and will be classified second, coming across the line with 23 laps to go. Bradley Holly still out in front, and looking at the times, it seems that Colton Lane has the pace. Was just over a 10th faster than Bradley Holly last time around this circuit, so we might see the 60 in contention for victory with some lapped traffic ahead of Ryan Traver.
Well, it's nice to see Colton Lane with some raw pace out there today. He's had a tough go of things the last few seasons, but looking very impressive here today as Zemke and Cervantes doing battle for that 6th spot. The Monster Energy machine all over the post office truck.
And Abner Acosta made his way past these guys to get up into 5th place. Cervantes with slightly better momentum through turns 1 and 2. That's working out well for him. With everyone now having taken their pit stop with 21 laps to go, this has been quite a clean race so far. Lining it up is Thomas Sink on Jeff Evans to move into 3rd place. Fantastic stuff. And hearing some news on lap times, Derek, apparently Danny Cervantes has some stonking pace right now.
He really does. 2 laps ago, he was nearly 7/10 a second faster than our leader, Bradley Holly. 6/10 a second faster, and now 5/10 a second faster. So he has gained about almost 2 seconds in the past 3 laps here on Bradley Holly.
Also gaining on Bradley Holly is Colton Lane, who might be lining up a move for the lead coming into turns 3 and 4. Looks like he's decided to bump draft for the time being, as they have lap traffic on the high and low lines. Ryan Traver and CM Pennington. Holly's going to have to stay middle of the track here. Ooh, take it easy, guys. Ryan Traver up ahead of these guys will be giving a little bit of an advantage to Bradley Holly, a little whisper of a draft there, but the pace is with Colton Lane in the number 60 as they move into turn 1 for the 42nd time. Fantastic fighting for the lead here, and look at that battle for 3rd place. Thomas Sink has fallen back slightly. He's under attack from Abner Acosta, but of course, as Derek mentioned, Danny Cervantes with some of the best pace in the top 10 right now. There goes Acosta to the inside of Thomas Sink to try and take that 4th place back. That 3rd place back, sorry. Working very well here up at the front of the field. Drivers just taking their time trying to make moves. But here is Cervantes trying to line up Sink. goodness me. It's very close quarters here, these three cars together. They're going to have to work together at some point, otherwise they'll burn through their tires and allow Colton Lane to get away.
That's true, and this traffic here is getting pretty hot and heavy there. Colton Lane now once again making a move down the inside as you can see him go over the bumps down the back straightaway. But
And
Colton Lane
to the lead.
Yeah, Colton Lane. He made that move with such authority. It caught me off guard there, Reese.
Great pace there from the number 60 truck. And in these late stages of the race, with Bradley Holly's tyres being a lap older, and it seems Holly not coping with the drop-off as well as he usually would, that's definitely brought everyone else in the top 5 into contention once again. Abner Acosta now just behind Bradley Holly and carrying Danny Cervantes with him.
Yeah, and Holly now has a tailgate full of Abner Acosta as they come off of turn 4, heading onto that curved front straightaway.
Whoa, down to the inside he goes. Great run there from the bright yellow private label team hype number 5. How hard does Bradley Holly fight this? They're in the late stages of the race. Oh, there was almost contact there. Holly had to open up the steering to avoid getting into Abner Acosta on the inside, and that results in a poor run through the turns that allows Cervantes by as well. But for how long will Holly be able to fight back?
And that allows Cervantes to go through now into the top 3. Holly now shuffled outside of the podium spots. And your top 4 still just about nose to tail right now, Reese.
This is exactly the kind of racing we want to see at a super speedway. Fantastic stuff from these guys. Acosta with huge pace over Colton Lane. 2 laps younger tyres for the number 5 and lining him up on the inside. Fantastic stuff there from Abner Acosta. He has got a slight bit of overlap. Cervantes might bump him a little further forward. No, Cervantes is going to snatch the draft off Lane here, get a better run as Acosta moves up the inside into the lead through turns 3 and 4. Colton Lane with a slight disadvantage in the middle of the road. Oh, very close to getting into the safer barrier on the exit of turn 4. Hearing news also of a black flag for James Dewar. Dewar's had a very tough race here. Didn't qualify, got a no qualifying penalty, and has come into the pits now for the 3rd time this race. And he'll fall very far off the back of everyone else racing out here today. But Charles Sumner trying his best to work his way forward. Got Adam Zemke and Jeff Evans battling hard for 6th place just up ahead of him. Zemke's done well to hold on to a position in the top 10, but Jeff Evans trying his best to hold on to the position he started in. Zemke is, well, it looks like the run is with him. Coming down into turn 1. And that Monster Energy number 57 certainly looking quite comfortable out there on track. Zemke's tyres are 3 laps younger than Jeff Evans. But, oh, look at that. Nice run from Evans coming down the back stretch. He has a bit of overlap coming into turns 3 and 4. And a little bit of lap traffic on the outside. That's not going to be any drama for these guys. The 109 of Nicholas Hunter, sorry. Seems that this battling is allowing Charles Sumner to have a run at 6th place once again. Look at how much he's catching up to these guys as they run side by side. Huge pace difference in a straight line.
That is very true, and I'm going to be honest, Reese, this race has played out significantly different than I was anticipating. It's definitely been an exciting race so far, but yeah, this one is definitely some names coming out of left field towards the front of this one.
Indeed, as great fight back here from Jeff Evans. Charles Sumner, though, with the youngest tyres in this little trio. just completing the 18th lap of his stint, and he's going to line up around the outside of Jeff Evans. Evans falls back to 8th place. Is this going to be a run at 6th here for Sumner? He doesn't have the room to filter down to the inside, but stays high, preserves his tyres for just a little longer. Meanwhile, the battle up the front, Danny Cervantes, it looks like, is biding his time here versus Abner Acosta. Remember, he had great pace earlier. He was able to motor himself to the front of the field and gain that pace magnificently. But here in these final laps, he's just waiting, and I understand the reasoning. If you make the move too early, it just gives a chance to your rival to come back at you. You see him breathing off the throttle coming into turns 1 and 2.
You know, I'm going to be honest, Abner Acosta has been right in form this entire race. And I wasn't sure how this one was going to work for him, given his extensive road racing background. This is a track that seems to kind of lean more towards the traditional oval guys, but man, he has put on a clinic here today. Danny Cervantes still keeping him honest there in the 2nd spot, but it has been a really strong performance again for Abner Acosta here at Auto Club Speedway.
Yeah, I think we can say with confidence now that Abner Acosta is an all-round driver. He has improved magnificently on the oval side in the last year or so. As we check out the number 35 of Jim Westerfield losing a position to Paul Williams on the outside, coming into turns 1 and 2, getting rounded up by Chatley and Williams, and that's 11th place now for Chatley, 12th for Williams, but it could be 11th considering he's trying up the inside here with a bit of overlap on the number 59. Brendan Chatley, well, his pooch is a little distracted over there on the couch, but all focus here for Brendan Chatley as he squeezes down to the middle of the road, trying to keep that position versus Paul Williams, but it seems that Williams has the run he needs. We are under 10 laps to go now. And the question on my mind is, when does Danny Cervantes make the move on Abner Acosta? It seems Acosta has gone a bit wide in turns 1 and 2, and it looks like Cervantes is sticking the nose out. He's going for the lead. Here we go. And that is the number 25 into P1, but will he be able to hold on to that momentum? Can't tell if there's a slight bit of oversteer for the number 25, but he's going to try and shorten the run to the line here, get the advantage over Abner. But now he's going to have to be careful. These tyres are starting to get old. Over 20 laps on these tyres for all of these drivers.
But he has waited late in the run to make a strong go at it for that lead, Reese. So you got to wonder if maybe Cervantes was saving something here as he gets a little whiff of a draft off the lapped car. But Acosta keeping him honest there, not letting him stray too far ahead as we continue on here in the closing stages of this one. Oh, the lap truck. Oh, that could have been nasty.
Oh, and slight technical issues there for Clayton Curry in the Toyota Tundra, number 82. He's going to stay out of the way of Colton Lane, but that was almost disaster for the lead of the race. Barely millimeters between those trucks.
And if you look, that little moment has allowed Cervantes to get a little bit of breathing room there. As he comes off of turn 2, he has a couple truck lengths on Acosta, which is pretty much the biggest lead anyone has had here in quite a while.
Yeah, very good stuff there from Cervantes, just avoiding a disastrous incident there, going by the number 82 of Clayton Curry, but now with a crucial couple of truck length gap, probably 3 or 4 now to Abner Acosta. Cervantes leads by 0.25 of a second over the start-finish line as we have 5 laps to go here at Auto Club Speedway, and all the way down to the inside, just trying to line up the best run possible down the back stretch and keep Abner Acosta behind him. Cervantes hasn't visited the winner's circle this season, He's been looking for that elusive victory for some time and showed fantastic pace and strategy nous over the course of 2022 Season 1. And I don't want to curse him just yet, but it's looking like it might be starting to pay off, all of that effort that he's been putting in, leading still by nearly 0.3 of a second coming across the line. Meanwhile,
and this is a moment that's been a long time coming for Danny Cervantes Reese. He's been a driver on the move up through this series and has been a top contender for a while, and he is long overdue for a chance at victory lane.
That he is, but we check out the battle for P9 here with 4 laps to go. This still has yet to be decided. Adam Young on the outside of Paul Williams, who sticks middle of the road and getting bump drafted by Clayton Montgomery. Great pace from the drivers up the top. Swiping down to the inside is Adam Young, but it looks like mid-corner momentum is not with him. Oh my goodness. Clayton Montgomery a little boxed in there on the outside, but still with magnificent pace. Getting onto, oh dear, that's contact between Montgomery and Williams, and that is a late caution here. And with just 3 laps to go, there's a chance that this race will finish under caution. Oh man, that's a big shame that that incident happened when it did.
Can you believe it? We go that long into the race and get a caution with 3 laps to go.
Well, there's likely going to be an attempt at a green-white-checkered here. If there is a caution within the last 3 laps, then they will get an extra 2 laps to sort themselves out. Here's a replay of the incident between Paul Williams and the number 45 of Clayton Montgomery. It just seemed that Williams was holding his line. So was Montgomery, but the way the track curves, there was just an ever so slight bit of contact between the trucks, and that was all she wrote from then on out. Not too sure how to call that. From that angle, it almost seemed like Williams moved up a little, but I'm not too sure, Chris. How do you see it?
Yeah, that's a tough one to call, to be honest. I mean, you got them side by side there, and this will be a great perspective on it. And I think you might be right about Williams moving up.
Yeah, it was borderline, but either way, that's going to result in a heck of a lot of damage for both of those trucks. But still, props to the drivers for keeping it so clean for the majority of this race. With 3 laps to go, oh, and here we go. This is significant. The leaders coming in, and Derek, they want their tires as fresh as possible for the green-white-checkered.
They really do. You know, I had wondered about this when the caution came out, what teams would try to do. Would they put tires on? I can't see them. Obviously, don't need to put all the gas in it. They're going to really just take tires and race off pit road here. I'm kind of surprised. We'll see if anyone decided to go the opposite strategy and see if they can last the 2 laps without tires.
Well, it seems that Sumner, Zemke, Chatley, and Goodall have moved to that. If we don't expect them on the pits on the next lap, as everyone exits the lane. And it seems that Colton Lane has been massively disadvantaged through that pit stop. He's fallen back to 10th. It's promoted Brendan Chatley, it's promoted Adam Young into effective P3 of the drivers that have pitted. Cervantes will be leading the way out of the pits. A well-executed pit stop for him there. But with Sumner, Zemke, Chatley, and Goodall out in front on their old tires, that's a bit of a gamble here.
Yeah, this is shaking things up a little bit.
Does anyone else come into the pits? We see the number
Looks like
44. Go on, Derek.
Sorry, I was going to say, it looks like Mr. C.M. Pennington's coming in. He decided against the wave around, but he's 16 laps down at this point in the race.
Yeah, not much chance of him gaining any positions so might as well just go for the fresh tires and see how the truck feels at the end. Well, we're coming up to the green-white-checkered now, and pace car lights are off. This is going to be a very interesting finish. The top 4 trucks on an old set of tires. Coming up to, well, it's Charles Sumner is on the 30th lap on those tires. The 31st lap for Adam Zemke, 34th lap for Brendan Chatley, and 33rd lap for Ryan Goodall on those sets. So the advantage is definitely going to be with everyone from 5th on back, save for Nicholas Hunter, who also decided to stay out under caution.
So it looks like Cervantes is going to be coming from 5th here. And with just a couple laps left, but a huge tire advantage, I'm really curious to see if he can make his way back up through the field.
Oh boy, we are on for a heck of a finish here at Auto Club Speedway as the field prepares to take what will be the final restart of the race. If there's another caution from here, the race will finish under caution. Charles Sumner going a bit early there, gets a good run on Adam Zemke, and Brendan Chatley is going to stay with him. Abner Acosta already trying to go to the outside of Ryan Goodall, but thinks better of it. It's a good run from Danny Cervantes. Let's see then, to the inside they go and have a look at the difference in pace through the corners. Acosta and Cervantes lining up Adam Zemke, who keeps to the middle of the track, wants to keep this position as much as possible. Oh dear, I almost saw some dramas further back in the field. Bradley Holly's having trouble finding his way past a few guys. But Danny Cervantes to the outside, there's a bump. Oh no, they come together, and Acosta is going to have to check up here with Brendan Chatley. Oh no, Holly and Acosta make contact down low. The yellow flag is back out. We will finish under caution here as there's further wrecking over the start-finish line. Oh my goodness. And Danny Cervantes just managed to make his way to first place round the outside just before that. So that's effectively given him the victory here today.
Wow, what an insane finish. You had 2 of your championship contenders get into an incident there at the end, and wow, we have a lot to talk about here.
Oh dear. Do have to say though, Charles Sumner staying out on those old tires, really paying off for him. He avoided the chaos, and he will get second place out of that. Colton Lane and Adam Young, 3rd and 4th. Zemke managed to hold on to P5. Falling down the order massively was Abner Acosta. He's down in 19th at the moment, but Bradley Holly, crucially at the time the caution came out, he was still in the top 10. But the checkered flag comes out for Danny Cervantes, finally taking his first win of 2022 in the Precision Racing League NASCAR Truck Series. Brilliant drive from the number 25. He was hounding them all the way. So, we will step aside very briefly here on the Global Sim Racing channel. When we come back, we'll check out those replays from what brought out the caution and also go through our official results and interviews with our top 3. We'll be back very, very shortly.
Hey there, I'm Nicholas Dubois, co-founder of Advanced Sim Racing. We are a Canadian company. So what we did here today is for a real petrol head. He's really passionate about cars, as you can see behind me. We did a turnkey solution for him based on his needs. We try to gather as much information as we can on our client, and like we did today. We install a D-box system, we install ultra-wide cube control steering wheel. We try to provide the best quality for your budget. So let's say if you want a budget of 10 grand, we're gonna give you something that's the best for 10 grand. If you want 20 grand, then we always try to stay within your boundaries. We do try to make it as easy as possible. So the client, once we install everything, it's pretty much gonna be a turnkey. So he's gonna press start on his computer, and right after we'll try to explain everything, how it goes, how it works, and then he's ready to go. Our aluminum is from USA, treated in Canada, cut in Canada. So we do sand all our aluminum piece just to make sure the powder coat sticks to it. And that's one of the reasons why we use powder coat, is to make sure you have the best aluminum finish in the industry. And our quality is beyond what you can get with any other competitors right now. We are really, really passionate about all the gear, all the cockpits, all the sim hardware, and that's why we want to create something that's really going to reflect our passion into our product. Come visit us at advancedsimracing.com. You can always reach us if you have any questions. You can call us, you can text us, you can go on Facebook, like our page, ask us questions over there, and we'll make sure to answer every questions there is. We are very passionate about what we do, and we try to make it as easier for you to go into the sim racing world, because there's a lot of gear, there's a lot of options, but let us guide you through your process, and let's hope you'll be an Advanced Sim Racing customer.
Well, what a race in the Precision Racing League NASCAR Truck Series at the Fontana circuit. This was the replay of the green-white-checkered start. Charles Sumner leading the way, but Derek Watson in the pits had eyes on the incident that brought out that final caution. Goodness me, Derek, what a way to complete this race. We had those drivers on fresh tyres trying to make their way up through the field, but it was all down to the bump between the 59 and the 98 at the front.
Yeah, you know, coming through 3 and 4 here to take the white flag, I spent some time looking to see what the original cause is. If you ever see the replay, lead them down here. And you're going to see from this angle, the 59 is just going to give a small bump right there, and it all accordions backwards, and then it's just calamity on behind it. Car spinning, and just really trying to avoid the wrecks. And unfortunately, I think Acosta's the one who comes up on track and finally brings out the yellow, with more wrecking to follow thereafter.
Oh, goodness me. And Austin Hunter getting bumped around like a pinball as coming in very hot there was one of the other trucks. And we'll get another angle of it here from Bradley Holly's perspective. You would have seen just up ahead Acosta getting checked up there behind the number 59, and then further contact with the number 59 of Brendan Chatley sent Abner Acosta into Bradley Holly, and then it was just all chaos, Chris.
Yeah, you can see it just kind of devolved there into well, it was probably easier to say who didn't get caught up in that one at the end.
Yeah, and Danny Cervantes got quite lucky there to an extent, given the fact that it took so long for the caution to come out in the midst of all of that wrecking. Drivers were just managing to hold on to their pace on the racetrack. Well, either way, these are the official results. Danny Cervantes taking victory from Charles Sumner, and Colton Lane completing the top 3. Adam Young and Adam Zemke, top 5. Good stuff there for Zemke, managing to hold on to that position in the top 10, despite not coming in for tyres. Jim Westerfield and Jeff Evans, 6th and 7th. Bradley Holly, lucky to cross the line to finish 8th after being involved in that race-ending wreck, with Adam Shane and Joshua Tellez rounding out the top 10.
Coming home in the 11th spot today is going to be Thomas Sink over Stacy Hunter. Ryan Goodall in 13th over Mark Kalin. Brendan Chatley will come home in 15th position ahead of Austin Hunter. Tough break for Abner Acosta to get scored in 17th after dominating a good chunk of this race. Daniel Alley is 18th, followed by Jose Medina in 19th, and Clayton Curry completes the top 20.
Last car to finish on the lead lap. Ryan Traver and Randy Caldwell come home a lap down in 21st and 22nd. Nicholas Hunter 2 laps down. Baron Hilton 3 laps down. Clayton Montgomery 4 and Paul Williams 5 laps down. They are the last cars, I believe, to take the finish. James Dewar, unfortunately, retiring with big issues after a very tough race. Same goes for, well, CM Pennington actually taking the finish out on track, but 17 laps down. Meanwhile, Dalton Geyer and Danik Momi, they were involved in a wreck early on and had to come in with massive repairs to their trucks. They will not take the finish. Huey Aguera and Doyle Lawrence did not take the start. Well, it's time now for our driver interviews, and we've got a very happy driver here in the form of Danny Cervantes, finally breaking his victory duck in 2022 Season 1. Congratulations, Danny. It almost went very wrong for you at the end, but the timing of the caution worked out very well for you.
Yeah, well, I want to say it worked really well because I was hoping it'd play out green. I was, distancing myself from Abner towards the end. That extra lap, I guess, I ran over him, and pit stops really helped me. But then, I knew I did a bunch of races this week. I knew it would stick if I ran it in the top of 3 and 4. So I knew with the old guys, if I got in the outside and wasn't boxed in, I'd be able to center out the outside, pull a Larson line, and just come out with the lead. Just unfortunate, there was a wreck towards the back that took out a couple of my teammates. But yeah, hopefully, this is the first of many wins to come.
Indeed, we're certainly hoping that as well. Well, Chris and Derek were a bit surprised to see the front runners coming in to take tyres for the Green-white-checkered. What was your thinking behind that?
New tires were worth 3 seconds a lap, so I knew my team was behind me. They were going to follow suit if they were going to stay out or come in. I decided to come in because I realized fresh rubber was more important. It almost didn't go my way with that wreck, but good thing I got clear ahead of Charles and scored that win.
Well, either way, this is a great haul of championship points for you coming into the final round at Las Vegas. What are your thoughts on that place? How do you usually go there?
Besides this track, Las Vegas is my second best track. I have tons of wins there in official races. And it is I would say it's my home track. It's the one that's closest to me. It's about 6 hours away. So hopefully I get a good finish and, bring home the team championship for me, Tom, and Colton.
Indeed, the Waterback team up at the front of the standings. Well, before we let you go, Danny, obviously, Waterback, one of the people that you'd like to thank before we let you go.
Yeah, obviously, they're the ones that, stand behind me through the thick and thin. You guys for putting on a great broadcast, and the PRL and all their stewards for putting on this league. I much prefer racing here than I would in official races, just because it tends to be cleaner. And yeah.
Well, thanks very much for joining us, Danny Cervantes, P1 here tonight at the Auto Club Speedway. Next up, we got one of the drivers who decided to gamble on staying out when the caution came out for the Green-white-checkered. Charles Sumner in the 98 stood by with Chris Phoebe.
Well, Charles, a great run for you today. Obviously, you gambled a little bit staying out there on the older tires, and had that caution fell maybe 100 feet or so sooner, we could be talking to you in victory lane. But still, it's got to be pretty pleasing to get a second place run here after a very very arduous race, we'll call it.
I mean, honestly, before that first caution came out, I was happy running in 7th. And then the caution came out, took the gamble. And I'm like, you know what? Only 4 of us stayed out. We're going to get swallowed up. If I finish top 10, then I'm still going to be ecstatic. But just to get the bump that I got, I was trying to catch it through 3 and 4. By the time I finally caught it, Danny just got me, and then the caution came out. That's where it starts stinging a little bit. So I'm ecstatic. There's a lot of talent in this league. So to get a second place is, awesome. But this one hurts a lot more than the second place that I memed at Daytona on Sunday night. That's for sure.
Well, it sounds like you got quite a bit of momentum going on, Charles. So that's got to feel pretty good here as we get into the closing week of the season.
Yeah, for sure. Especially with the last race being at Vegas, it's been an all right track for me in the past. So just hopefully ride this momentum and see if I can't get, wishful thinking, top 5, if not, end the season with a solid top 10, try to make up for the incidents I got caught up in the beginning of the season, and just, carry that momentum on.
All right, Charles, anybody you'd like to thank to help make tonight possible for you?
As always, thanks to you guys at the GSRC for putting on great shows for us almost every day of the week. Shout out to my crew at the PRL that helps me put on these races. Advanced SimRacing, RaceLabs, ButtKicker, NinjaTrader, and last but not least, also shout out to Tropicana.
All right, well, that is our runner-up finisher today, Charles Sumner, and that beautiful Tropicana number 98. Back to you, Reese.
Good stuff there from Sumner. Final driver interview of the night. Third place, the number 60 of Colton Lane. And congratulations on your podium, Colton. You were in contention for it all the way through. It seemed after that pit stop in the middle of the race, the pace was certainly with you.
Yeah, thankfully, it worked out. I didn't burn up my tires. I have a tendency to end up doing that, but I actually put in some practice this week. Me and Danny ran some C fixed, so I think it paid off for us.
Yeah, certainly did. Well, looking back at this replay on my end of the race-ending caution, seems like you threaded the needle through all of the chaos. You just managed to get by Brendan Chatley and Abner Acosta before they came together and swept everyone with them. So pretty good heads-up driving from you there. What was your perspective on all of that? And were you looking in your mirror?
I wasn't looking in the mirror. I was just looking straight up ahead because I knew I passed, I think, Westerfield on the inside of that, so I thought I had a good clear on that. But when I saw the bumping up ahead, I was a little worried. And thankfully that little gap opened up, and I took it because, we had like 5 or 6 stay out, 2 people take 2 tires. So I was way back there, and I was like, well, if I end up not being able to finish the race because I get caught up in something here, at least I'd rather try to go through it and then, get my finishing position back, because I did not want to see that caution.
Well, either way, that caution did come out, and that secured you third place in the end. An excellent result for you tonight. Are you going to carry that momentum into Vegas next week?
We'll have to see. I like the 1.5 miles. It really is just going to depend on the setup. Like if it's one of the more flat-footy ones, and I think Vegas tends to be, I might not like it as much, but still go out there and try to have fun. I want to get a top 10, but a top 5 is even better. And honestly, top 3. This is my second one this season. I haven't had a season this successful in a while, so it's kind of brought some life back into me. I was getting a little bit down about racing, but it's just because we have so many good guys in this league, and it's hard to get these good finishes.
Yeah, that it is. A very competitive series here in the Precision Racing League. Well, before we let you go, Colton, anyone you'd like to thank for your podium tonight?
Yeah, the whole Waterback crew, but specifically, congratulations to Danny. Raced with him for the past 2 or 3 years now. He's worked hard. It's his first oval win, I think. I think he said he's won in like MX5s or something on here before, but still the first oval series win is big for him. And then there's the rest of the Waterback guys, and then PRL for giving us a good league to race in. And then you always do a fantastic job out there for us, painting us in a good light. So we appreciate that.
Well, thank you very much for joining us, Colton Lane, truck number 60. Brilliant result for him tonight. And that's going to bring to an end proceedings for this evening. Chris, goodness me, what a great race that was. Certainly Auto Club always putting on great racing in the likes of IndyCar in real life, but NASCAR trucks really turning it up too.
Yeah, this was a tremendous race, and a great way to head into the final stages of this season. Obviously a great race. I'm super excited that we got to call this one, and very happy for Danny Cervantes finally getting into victory lane.
Absolutely. A fantastic result for Danny Cervantes, and he'll take that straight to the bank. Well, we're going to end things off here on the Global Sim Racing channel, but not before thanking our sponsors, first of which, the Majors Garage, home of free Baseline Plus setups, 24/7 coaching and more. Head to majorsgarage.com and use our special discount code MajorsGSRC for 10% off. Series sponsors here at the Precision Racing League. First off, Advanced SimRacing. They design and build the sturdiest and most durable aluminium profile racing simulation cockpits available in the market today. Visit them at advancedsimracing.com. RaceLab. It helps you to improve your driving skills. Start using it now for free at racelab.app. ButtKicker. Feel what you've been missing at thebutkicker.com. And finally, NinjaTrader. Visit ninjatrader.com and get started with a risk-free trading simulator to start tracking your performance. Our thanks must also go to the companies that provide the software and hardware for our broadcasts listed here on your screen. Additional thanks to June Lalonde, who provides our wonderful music. Check out her Bandcamp page for more of her great work. Thanks to the team today, Chris, Derek jumping in the pits, Zach Johnson directing, and of course Dougie Beard with the camera backs. You can find more info about GSRC at globalsimracingchannel.com or through our social media listed on the screen. Also, please check out our merchandise store at gsrc.storenvy.com. We keep a link in the description below. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel as well, so you don't miss a moment here on GSRC. Of course, the next race in the Precision Racing League NASCAR Truck Series will be next week at Las Vegas to end off the season. You can catch that next Wednesday at 8:50 p.m. Eastern Time. But of course, we will be going with the Precision Racing League tomorrow night for their Formula 3 and Porsche Cup Series at 8:25 p.m. Eastern. We also have upcoming races for other series listed on the screen, so check those out and mark them down on your calendar. Until next time, race clean, race hard, and we'll see you on the track.